For as long as we've walked the earth, humans have looked up at the night sky and wondered, where did this all come from? The stars, the earth, the strange spark of life, and our own ability to even ask the question. Some say it's all coincidence, that the universe emerged by chance, no plan, no purpose. Others argue that such order, beauty, and consciousness can't possibly be accidental, that something greater must lie behind it. As the philosopher Aristotle once wrote, the first philosophy is the search for causes and principles. Across centuries, thinkers from every culture, from Greek philosophers to modern physicists, have wrestled with the same question. Is there evidence, rational evidence, that gods or something like them could exist? Today we're going to explore 5 of the most compelling arguments ever made for the existence of the divine, not through faith or myth, but through reason, through what the world itself seems to suggest. Because whether you believe it or not, the question refuses to go away. I'll just be scratching the surface of these theories, so if you want to learn more, let me know and I'll make an expanded version of each. Starting with the cosmological argument. Everything we see has a cause. A tree grows from a seed, a flame is born from a spark. Every effect has something that came before it, a chain of events stretching backward through time. But if you follow that chain long enough, you eventually hit a wall, because at some point there must have been a beginning, the very first link in the chain. This is the foundation of what philosophers call the cosmological argument, or the argument from first cause. At its core, it asks one thing: why is there something rather than nothing? If everything that begins to exist has a cause, then the universe itself must also have one. And whatever caused it, by definition, can't be part of the universe. It would have to exist outside of space, outside of time, and beyond matter itself. Modern cosmology has only made this question harder to ignore. The Big Bang Theory, now the dominant scientific model, tells us the universe did have a beginning. Time, space, and energy all appear to have erupted from a single point roughly 13.8 billion years ago. Which leads naturally to another question: what caused that point to exist in the first place? Some scientists propose quantum fluctuations, or that universes might spontaneously rise out of nothing. But even that nothing is often not nothing at all. It's a quantum vacuum filled with potential, still governed by laws that themselves need explaining. As the philosopher Thomas Aquinas put it nearly 8 centuries ago, if there is no first cause, there will be no intermediate causes, and no final effects. Without an ultimate origin, nothing else, not galaxies, planets, or us, could exist. This doesn't require belief in any one god, only in a necessary cause, something uncreated and eternal. To some, that sounds like God. To others, an undiscovered law of nature. The design argument. If the cosmological argument asks why the universe exists, the design argument asks why it works so perfectly. The laws of physics seem fine-tuned for life. Gravity, electromagnetism, and dozens of constants balanced with astonishing precision. Gravity, for instance, is 10 to the minus 39th times weaker than the strong nuclear force. If it were even slightly stronger, the universe would have collapsed in on itself long before stars could form. If weaker, matter would have never condensed into galaxies at all. And it's not just one constant, it's dozens, all perfectly balanced to create a universe capable of sustaining complexity, consciousness, and carbon-based life. The odds of such precision arising by pure chance are so infinitesimal that some scientists have compared it to a dart hitting a single atom across the observable universe. Even the slightest change would make stars, planets, and living beings impossible. This uncanny calibration is what scientists call fine-tuning. As physicist Freeman Dyson once said, the universe knew we were coming. So how do we explain it? To some, this unlikely harmony implies the existence of a designer, an intelligent force that sets the dials of the universe at just the right levels. They see the hand of intention behind the laws of physics themselves, a kind of cosmic architecture. Others see probability, countless universes, each different, and we simply live in the one that allows life to exist. Both ideas, the divine designer and the multiverse, require faith of a kind. But most importantly, both appeal to realities beyond our ability to observe or measure. The moral argument. We live in a universe of stars and atoms, indifferent, mechanical, and ruled by physical law. And yet, we act as though there's something more. We speak of good and evil, justice and cruelty, as if those things truly matter. The moral argument suggests our sense of right and wrong isn't just an evolutionary quirk, but evidence of something beyond us, something moral, conscious, and binding. Across history, people have shared the same moral intuitions. We admire courage, condemn betrayal, and know that cruelty for fun is wrong. If morality were only biological, it would shift with convenience, but it doesn't feel like preference, it feels like truth. As Dostoevsky wrote, if God does not exist, everything is permitted. Without something objective to anchor morality, good and evil become opinions, and yet almost no one lives that way. Even non-believers appeal to higher ideals: justice, compassion, equality. You can't weigh those forces or photograph them, but you can feel them, deeply. That's the mystery this argument points to. If the universe began as cold matter and energy, how did it produce beings capable of love, guilt, and sacrifice? Maybe morality evolved to help us survive. Or maybe it's written into the fabric of existence, a moral law pointing to a moral mind. Because even in an indifferent cosmos, we still believe some things are just wrong, and that belief itself might be evidence of something greater. The consciousness argument. Of all the mysteries we face, none is stranger than the one behind our own eyes. We can study neurons and chemistry, yet still not explain what it feels like to be alive. This is the argument from consciousness. If the universe began as lifeless matter, how did it produce mind? How did atoms learn to think? We can trace brain activity, but awareness itself, the inner experience, remains elusive. As philosopher David Chalmers called it, the hard problem of consciousness. Some say consciousness emerges when matter becomes complex enough. Others suggest it's fundamental, not created by the brain, but channeled through it, like light through glass. As C.S. Lewis wrote, if the whole universe has no meaning, we should never have found out that it has no meaning. The very act of self-awareness might point to something beyond neurons, a spark of the same intelligence that shaped the cosmos. The experiential argument. Even if reason alone can't prove the existence of gods, the human experience continues to suggest them. Across cultures and across centuries, humans have felt something, a presence, a power, a connection to the unseen. Every civilization in history has reached for the divine in its own way. The Greeks built temples to Zeus, the Hindus spoke of Brahman, the Norse prayed to Odin, the Hebrews to Yahweh, the Egyptians to Ra. And yet, despite the differences, the pattern is strangely familiar, as if all were trying to describe the same unreachable thing from different angles. Psychologists might call it the religious impulse, a tendency woven into human nature. Neuroscientists can even identify parts of the brain that activate during moments of prayer or awe. But that still doesn't answer the question. Why do we have this impulse at all? Why does every age, every language, every people turn their eyes toward the heavens? As Carl Jung observed, the gods have become diseases, but they have not disappeared. Mystics, prophets, and ordinary people have long claimed experiences of the divine, visions, answered prayers, moments they can't explain. They're deeply personal, often transformative, and remarkably consistent across cultures. Science can't reproduce them, yet they've shaped civilizations. Skeptics call it imagination, believers call it contact, glimpses of something real beyond the veil. Either way, the idea of the divine is one of humanity's oldest and most enduring experiences. Because even when temples crumble and old names fade, the question survives. And that's it for today's video. What do you make of these 5 arguments for the existence of something beyond? Let me know down in the comment section below. See you in the next one.